Hi, welcome. I'm doing an exclusive interview with a personality who does not need any introduction in our city and anywhere else. Chef Inam himself. Guys, how are you doing today?
Hi Sami, how are you?
All good.
It's always good to see you, man.
Good time. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Hi guys, I'm Chef Inam Khan, founder, executive chef and owner of Chef Inam Steakhouse and KOB, which is Kingdom of Barbecue. My culinary journey had started back in the US. I was there for close to 8 to 9 years, and generally when we talk about food, for me, I mean, food is all about the passion and the opportunity you get to meet people from different backgrounds, different cultures, and the amount of learning, I mean, you get, it's just tremendous. I think that's one of the reasons, which actually, got me into cooking, and more than anything, I personally enjoy eating good food.
How exactly did your journey begin? That I'm very keen on knowing that how did it all begin? How did this idea of being the master chef come to your mind?
Well, Sami, I still would not call myself as a master chef, because for me, food is just like an ocean. Okay, I mean, for me, I just feel like maybe I've just took a small drop of it. Absolutely. So I'm still in the learning process. Absolutely. So you can just call me as a chef or an artist. Okay.
No, you're being modest. You're being modest right now.
But this is the truth. I mean, that's what I believe in. Because as I said earlier, it's the passion. And it's what you really enjoy to do. Okay, for me, I consider myself to be intellectually conscious person. Okay, so whatever things I get myself involved into, I feel it has to give me good amount of knowledge, good amount of learning, and loads and loads of fun. And let me just tell you, I get distracted very fast. So I wanted to get myself into something which actually keeps me busy and at the same time entertaining.
Wow. That's quite interesting. That's nice. So you began your journey in US as a chef, and I came to know from a lot of people about your experience and your past in the United States. How did that all begin, and how are you placed in US? How did it start?
Well, I started from Chicago. Yeah. I was there for close to a year and a half. I was still as any student would struggle at that, in the beginning. I was in a very struggling stage at that time. Then I had worked in a couple of restaurants there in Chicago. Okay. I was dealing with a very tough time, taking care of myself and just the expenses and all, Yeah. Then after a couple of years, I moved to Boston. A very dear friend of mine, who was to live in Boston, he convinced me to come to Boston and explore something. Wow. in Boston.
That's that.
And Sami, let me just tell you, the moment I was in Boston, I was just it was so convincing for me to the moment I reached Boston, I felt right at that point that hey, this is the city I belong to. Wow. Because I just love the diversity and there's something very unique about Boston.
Nice.
So I started working there in a couple of restaurants, and for me, I believe in when you um, when you know like what you want to do in life, okay, and when you become like very confident about, you know, hey, this is the field I want to stick onto, and hey, these are my goals.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, like, you know, automatically the options get, you know, it's open, yeah. I must say I was very fortunate enough, like, you know, I had met some amazing people in Boston.
Wow.
And who actually motivated me a lot, and just through their the kind of work they had done,
Okay.
and you know, both in the terms of like you know, academically, and you know, in their personal lives as well, like, you know.
Absolutely, yes.
So that was like a big motivating factor for me. To name a few, like, you know, when I had first met Professor Noam Chomsky,
Wow.
okay, he is a very well-known intellectual personality in the world.
Absolutely.
Okay, I am like a big fan of him. So I used to attend his, you know, his lectures, and you know, in Harvard Square.
Yes.
So when I had met him for the first time, I was just like, you know, wow.
Wow.
It might sound a little funny because he is like academically like genius,
Yeah,
and like, you know, he is into
He's a prodigy.
so many different things, yeah, you know.
Absolutely.
For me, I was a chef. I mean, I was, but I took that as a motivating factor, that, you know,
Yeah.
hey, when you believe in something, when you have faith in yourself, you know, you can achieve what you really want to achieve in life.
Very true, guys. Yes. So how do you, I mean, do you have any kind of you know, a vivid experience in US when it comes to cooking or creating what you create? Have you come across any kind of you know, interaction with celebrities and you know, the normal environment there?
For me, Sami, to be honest with you, when people talk about celebrities, the first thing comes in their mind is like, you know, actors, Hollywood actors, Bollywood
Absolutely, because
actors.
US is all about
Yeah.
Hollywood and, you know, a lot of things there.
But see, my perspective is like, you know, my thinking is a little different.
Yes.
For me, a person who has done something like incredibly well and incredibly good, you know, in their respective fields,
Yes,
you know, and who has done something really great for the humanity,
Yeah.
you know. So for me, I consider myself like, I consider them to be like a celebrities. So I would say, there was this incident where you know, I did a interactive barbecue session in Harvard, you know.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
the
awesome.
professors from Harvard and MIT, they have you know, they had this culture wherein, like, you know, every now and then, like, one professor from a particular ethnic background, like, you know, they invite other professors, so they have like a like kind of like an interactive cooking session or interactive barbecue session.
Pretty interesting. That's
Yeah.
pretty interesting.
So
Yeah.
I mean, the very first time when I was invited through one of the professors, like, you know, whom I had met in the restaurant where I was working.
Okay.
So he was a very friendly person, like, you know, every time I used to cook, I mean, like, you know, to him, I mean, he would just come and, you know,
Yeah.
appreciate.
Absolutely.
You know, see, that's the beauty, like, you know, when people appreciate,
Awesome.
you know. So one day he came and he was just like, you know, hey, Inam, I'm having a small get together.
Yes.
So he himself, he was the director of MBA program at that time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he had invited all these professors. So I went there, and just imagine like a 22-year-old kid.
Yeah,
Okay. It was his first time, and you're just standing in front of all these top super intellectual personalities of the world, like, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I had to cook for them, and just imagine, like, you know, I was like so nervous.
That was that.
Okay.
That's
Now I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm just telling you this like so openly.
Absolutely.
At that time, I just, like, you know, I didn't tell anybody, like, you know, hey, I was scared, or like I was nervous. But to be honest with you, I was like very nervous. But you know, when I started, started, like, you know, collecting my ingredients, and, like, you know, somehow, I mean, they saw that little nervousness on my face, and like, they made me feel so comfortable. Okay, in the, you know, but by just like talking to me and just, you know, asking a few questions, like, you know, very simple questions. So that kind of, like, you know, took me long, and like it just it went on, and you know, and it ended up in a great interactive cooking session.
Wow.
So that was like one of the most amazing incident for me in my culinary journey, because that gave me like so much of confidence and so much of faith in my culinary skills. And after that I was like, hey, bring it on, I'm ready for next challenge now.
Nice. Any other celebrity experiences in states that you
Sure. I mean, there are quite a few. Once I served the ex-Vice President of America, Mr. Al Gore. He had come to the restaurant, the ex-Vice President of the U.S. Yeah,
that's something. that's fabulous.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually. I was in the food service at that time, so he had come with his family, and he was just ordering the food, and I overheard some voice, and I was like, wow, I mean, this is an amazing voice, very authoritative voice, So I just went close, and I was like, wow, this is the ex-Vice President of America. So I went there, and I said like hello, and he responded to me in a very, very cool fashion, and and I end up cooking special food for him. So that was a great thing. And then I met Jennifer Connelly, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck.
Wow.
All these were in Boston. But the best part, I would say, meeting with my favorite, Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle.
Yeah,
right.
he is hilarious. He is an amazing person.
Absolutely.
I know his entire family.
Wow.
Very, very nice, compassionate people. So this was back when I had started my own restaurant in Dayton, Ohio.
Wow, you had a restaurant?
Yeah, I had my restaurant in Dayton, Ohio.
Okay.
So I met Dave Chappelle in my restaurant. So one fine day, he called and he was like, "Yo, bro, I'm having a special party. I'm inviting a few of my very close friends and some VVIPs," he said. And I was like, okay, must be just Dave and his friends. This was, the party was in Nutter Center. This was Convention Center in Beaver Creek. So I prepared the food and everything for about 40 people, and I went there. And to my shock, I'm like, oh my God, I see P. Diddy, Mos Def, and
actual Puff Daddy.
Yeah.
Right? That is unbelievable, man.
It's P. Diddy.
P. Diddy,
yeah. Mos Def, then you had your Snoop Dogg and all, so it was an amazing experience, And I see, I feel every time you interact with somebody, you think oh my God, this guy must be he's a celebrity, he must be very,
So I'm gonna call you a celebrity chef, a celebrity chef.
You can just call me an artist, just like you.
Absolutely. So how do you, from US to Hyderabad, India, what is the connection and the story behind it?
So Sami, when I was 24, 25, I guess 24 and a half something, I had started my first restaurant in Dayton, Ohio. It just took me some time to actually bring that restaurant to a level, and there's a lot of struggle, the food business, the restaurant look pretty fancy from outside, but behind the scene, you being an artist, you understand the products comes out really amazing, but what exactly happens behind is that's what there's so much of hard work and struggle, but I'm glad, the hard work pays off, and I in fact while I was running that restaurant, I got an opportunity to be a part of the live cooking show of Fox News.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fox News.
So again, it was the first time I was facing a camera, and that to a live TV in the US, and and that's Fox News. You're facing the camera, and so they asked me to cook a couple of, in fact, 2-3 dishes, and it was an amazing, incredible experience. They were so friendly, so nice, and I just the first few seconds were again, as I said, like it was little, I was a little nervous, but
Yes.
once I get into that mode, hey,
Yes.
I'm the chef.
Absolutely.
Okay, nobody can beat me here.
Very true. So how?
I don't want to sound like an overconfident person, but I mean, hey, this is what I love. This is what I passionately do, and
I've tasted your food, and I think you can be confident about it to the maximum level.
Thanks, man. Appreciate
I
it.
can honestly say that. And but I mean, how do you connect, your journey from US to Hyderabad? I mean, that's what.
Well, Sami, see, everything was going smooth back in the US. I was, decently, had become like a well-known person in the Beaver Creek area, and and I had made like some amazing friends, and right from in the Wright Patterson Air Force Base, and the local neighborhoods, and. So I still have like so much of memories, so many memories, however, when destiny has something else for you,
Very true.
you just have to follow that. One fine day, I got a call from my mother saying that she's not keeping well, and my father had a glaucoma, and he had lost his vision. You know how parents they always try to hide their hide, and but when it comes to extreme, I mean they call you and they let you know. So I was just like, God, no, all the materialistic things, all the fame and everything, whichever part of the world you go, you can always earn that.
Absolutely.
When you have talent, when you have skills, when you're a hardworking person, and when you do things from your heart, you can always get that. But your parents are such an incredible treasure.
Absolutely.
You have them. When you lose them,
Fabulous.
nothing can replace that. It took me like 3 days to actually think about it. I was not able to sleep. I was just thinking like, oh my God, at one part of me was like, hey, you have spent so much of time, so much of energy, so much of hard work to come to this position, and now you have to leave everything and go back.
Yes.
But the real genuine me inside was telling me, hey, you gotta go.
Yeah, you gotta go.
The materialistic things you can get it.
Right.
So I decided to come back, and the moment I saw both my parents, my dad and my mother, and the first thing I said to them was, Jannat aapki khadmon mein, aur main mara phirta raha sari dunya.
Mashallah.
Trust me, there was no regret at all.
Absolutely.
Okay,
I agree.
and I knew it, that inshallah I'm gonna get all those things, what I had lost.
Absolutely.
So back in my town, back in Hyderabad, it was a new journey. Again, I had to start everything from scratch.
Absolutely.
And when I made up my mind that hey, I'm gonna start a barbecue joint, a steakhouse, and trust me, when I had discussed that with my friends, they were like, you gone crazy, man. यहाँ पे बिरयानी की जगह पे तू steaks खोलता, people would just go mad, but again, when you believe in something, you gotta believe in that to the core.
And I think you have achieved, because your Chef Inam Steakhouse is one of the most popular restaurants in the city.
Alhamdulillah, I think I just do my best, and see, that's the beauty. I still get my customers. They say Inam bhai, we are regular. Right from your first branch, from the Master Tank branch.
Wow.
I'm sure you must be aware of the small roadside steakhouse. I still remember
The original one.
the original one.
Back then.
It was a very tiny one, okay, and I literally used to keep my barbecue grill on the pavement, covered it, and
Absolutely.
so but I see, this is what I believe in. When you have certain goals in your mind, you make that you subdivide those goals, okay.
Yes.
So I wanted to start with a very small step, okay, and I wanted to see what kind of response I would get, and the risk level would also be a little less, compared to directly getting into something big. Okay.
Big.
So my first goal was to get myself known in Hyderabad and introduce something new to the biryani capital of India, okay, which was very challenging, well, you know. But I felt like, you know, there are so many people, you know, in almost in every family somebody has gone abroad, okay, and they would come back with the taste.
With the taste, with
right?
the new concept.
Yeah. So I thought, okay, let's give it a try, let's give it a shot, and you know, and alhamdulillah, like, you know, in just 3-4 months, that tiny place used to be like, you know, packed by all celebrities and expats, and that's what I really loved about it. Like, there's so much diversity in there. You know, you would see people from like all different backgrounds, and you know, and I enjoyed cooking. Like, you know, when somebody comes and tell me, hey chef, amazing steaks or amazing food, see, that gives me so much of satisfaction and so much of happiness.
I completely
you know, you spend, it's not easy, Sami, like, you know, standing in front of the hot charcoal grill, you know, because there is no proper control of the temperatures. Okay, you have to constantly, like, you know, mess around with the charcoal, and like the smoke coming up, and
it's a tough
you know,
job, you know,
and then you have people, like, you know, there will be like, I'm still a human being, like, you know, there you know, there are times you might end up doing some mistakes as well, you know, like anybody, so you have to deal with that as well, you know. But I think, I mean, like, overall it was an amazing journey, and from that place, like, you know, we.
So have you, like, you know, only cooked in Hyderabad, or have you done any other, you know, ventures of yours?
I have traveled a lot, Sami. I was invited. I was invited in Bombay and Bangalore, and, like, you know, so many other cities where you know, some Bollywood movie directors, producers, and you know.
Any of your experiences with the Bollywood side? I mean, any of the celebrities?
I have cooked for Salman Khan. I must, thanks to a dear friend of mine, she had helped me, like, you know, to get me this opportunity. So
where did you cook for them? Like,
this was at Mr. Venkatesh's house. Okay. We were cooking, and I was cooking. So we had all the guests, and Salman Khan was like in the corner, and you know, everybody was just like Salman Khan, yeah. And I was just like, okay, I'm a chef. I gotta do what I gotta do. So you know, I prepared a cod fish fillet. Okay.
Yeah.
And I knew it. I mean, like, you know, that because that's my favorite dish.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, let me just serve this special, like, cod fillet to Salman Khan and see, like, you know, how he would react. I mean, like, how would he respond? So I did my best. We served the fish to him. He would just must be like, you know, about 20 yards away from the grill. Yeah. And I was watching him, you know, he had like a couple of bite of the codfish, and suddenly, I don't know what happened, and he comes to me, and I was like, oh my God, this is Salman Khan coming. You know.
That's
so
the moment, you know.
Yeah. And then he comes to me and is like, yaar, this is amazing.
Wow.
ये आपने यहाँ पे तो नहीं सीखी है. Then I said, like, yeah, you know, I was in the US, like, you know, I learned this particular recipe, like, you know, back in Rhode Island. So then, I mean, like, it just started, the conversation started, and I was just like amazed, like, you know, such a humble and such a beautiful person he is, like, you know. And the conversation went on, like, I mean, you know, and apparently, while he was leaving, when he was sitting in the car, everybody was just like, you know, running for him. Trust me, I still remember that. Like, he came out of the car, like, for a few steps, and he said, like, it was nice meeting you here, Allah Hafiz, he says. So that was like the best thing for me, and you know.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Any other celebrities in Bombay that you have interacted with?
There are quite a few, and I would say more of the, like, you know, the big names in the politics as well. I wouldn't want to name any, but you know, again, as I said, like, you know, food has no boundaries, okay? Absolutely. And food does not understand the very word, like, you know, politics or this and that, like, you know, those differences. It's the whole intention is to bring people close.
Absolutely. That's the key. That's the key of food, you know, and having a perfect dine session to bring people together.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, Chef, which is your favorite and a personal dish, you know, that you love?
Yeah, quite a lot.
I'm sure
Sami.
this is absolutely.
I still remember, like, you know,
Very tough
my
question.
my mentor, Chef James White. He had once told me,
Yeah.
he's a very senior chef. He's like a very talented chef. I mean, you know. So he had once told me, prepare a dish, put your heart and soul, put so much love into that. If you serve to the guest, and by any chance, if he doesn't eat that, you should say like, oh my God, he has no idea what he is missing, and you know, you should just jump and you know, you should eat it by yourself. So that's my whole intention, like, you know. But still, like, to name a few, I would say the grilled red snapper. It just like I loved it.
Yeah.
So that's a whole red snapper fish. I can eat it by myself.
Perfect. Let's try that after this interview. then.
Sure.
All right. So,
That one, and then we have like or double decker Habibi cheesesteak is
Yes.
my favorite, and or lamb chops, then the Cape Cod style, the Salman Khan, the fish which I have cooked for him.
Yes.
So these are my favorite.
Wow. So, I mean, how many restaurants do you have in the city? I mean, right now.
Well, right now we have the one on road number 12 is Chef
yeah,
Inam
the
Steakhouse.
famous
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, I'm just amazed. I mean, I'm like, I feel so blessed,
Okay.
you know, to have that kind of connection with my clients, with my customers,
Yes.
like, you know,
Absolutely.
with my guests. People come all the way, you know, from Bangalore, from Bombay, from Delhi, you know. They just call me, hey chef, we're at the airport, we'll be there like, you know, in a couple of hours. Can you just make this for us? I'm like, where are you coming from? They're like, Bangalore.
Okay.
Like somebody would say, like, you know, from, you know,
So you
it
have
is.
like clients from all over the
Yeah,
country.
and one thing I really want to share this with you, Sami, is because not because like I just want to boast about it or something,
Okay.
but it just kind of gives me so much of happiness and, you know, so much of satisfaction.
Yes.
We have recently, like, you know, I would say about a couple of months ago, there was one family who had come from UAE, mother, father, and 3 kids.
Okay.
I think the father was ill, and they were getting the treatment in Apollo Hospital.
Okay. Yeah.
So every now and then they used to I mean, you know, the boys and the mother, they used to come to steakhouse, and they, after coming like 2-3 times, they just fell in love with the food. And after their father's treatment was done, they went back to UAE, and I think like within a couple of weeks after they left, both the children, I think they must be like 17 or 18.
Yeah.
They had come all the way from Abu Dhabi, and they came and they're like, chef, we had convinced our parents that, you know, we just want to go to Chef Inam's and, you know, have the Habibi cheesesteak and your burger. And they're like, you have like best of the best restaurants in UAE, and I told them, they were like, no Habibi,
Yes.
you are a good man. We love your food. We love your food. That was like such a beautiful you know
Fascinating
gesture.
experience,
You know, so sometimes it's not about the materialistic things, like, you know, what you gain. It's the love and you know, these beautiful gestures, like, you know, what you receive from your guests.
All right, chef. So, who are the celebrities who you have catered to in Hyderabad? I mean, would you like to share that as well, or you want to keep that?
Well, I mean, there's nothing secret about it. There are quite a few, and like, you know, each one of them are like, you know, very dear to me, and you know, I really appreciate. I mean, you know, and want to say thanks to them, you know, for trusting my culinary
Would
skills.
you like to name a few, or you want to keep that?
Well, my favorites are like, you know, I cater to Mahesh Babu every now and then, yeah. And then Mr. Asaduddin Avesi, like,
Wow.
you know, he's quite fond of my food, and then we have Rana, Junior NTR, I've catered to,
Wow.
Samantha.
Quite a few people.
Ramcharan, you know, yeah, and then Sania Mirza, and like, I would say, like, each and every customer, each and every guest who comes to my restaurant, they are like VIPs to me. Yeah.
I'm your personal fan to this level now because your food is absolutely out of the world.
Thank you. Yeah. And of course, like, I just love to spend some time in the gym as well.
Well, yeah, I can definitely see that for sure. So, I mean, I think you have clients waiting up, so...
Yeah, they're like, people still, I mean, they're just looking at me and they're like, oh, chef is giving interview, and they're just giving me that smile.
Right.
Hi.
All right, guys, so I guess he's running short on time, so I don't want to keep him here. He's got orders lined up and stuff. So that was Chef Inam himself, an exclusive interview with the king of barbecue himself. This place is fabulous, KOB, the kingdom of barbecue. Do come down, visit this place.
And I just want to say a big, big thank you to the people of Hyderabad. The kind of love and affection, the kind of great gesture I got from Hyderabad, it's just like mind-blowing, it's just like overwhelming. Trust me, even when I go out, people come and just like, hey, you're Chef Inam, like, we had a steak at your place, we had a burger at your place, like, we loved it. So I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for your for your love and affection. Please, I need that every time. So, and please do visit my new restaurant, Kingdom of Barbecue. It's the place where you want to bring your family, your loved ones, your friends, and have a great time. And come and just let me know. I will personally cook the food, and you would love it. I promise. You will love the food.
Stay tuned. Follow his pages, his Instagram, Facebook, and everywhere.
And Sami, for you gotta just repeat after me what I'm gonna say now.
Okay, and what would that be?
जायका ऐसा हो
जायका ऐसा हो
जो दिल को छू ले,
दिल को छू ले,
दिल ऐसा हो जिसमें खुदा की मोहब्बत भरी हो,
खुदा की मोहब्बत है,
और मोहब्बत ऐसी हो मेरी जान,
मोहब्बत ऐसी हो मेरी जान
जो सबका दिल जीत ले.
सबका दिल.
I love to you all, Hyderabad.
All right, it was fabulous, bro.
Thanks.